office spaces. His innovative approach to workplace transformation, productivity, and real estate solutions has revolutionized the commercial sector, making him a leader in business excellence and business innovation. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Harsh Binani on the stage at SRCC Business Conference. I would now like to request Reena Chadda ma'am to please come on stage and felicitate Harsh sir.
Thank you for keeping me with a superstar. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been a very long day for all of you. I've been there exactly 14 years back in the first SRCC Business Conclave, which I was sharing with our respected faculty. I was one of the founding initiating members. So it feels great to see the event stature go up manifold since, and can completely empathize on how long the day has been. But I promise to make this very short, and hopefully you will take a few insights which stay with you well beyond the conclave. Most importantly, it feels incredible to be back to SRCC. My college, my campus, a part of my heart always stays here. My deepest regards to my professors. Some of them are here who have shaped me into what I am today. I will forever be grateful for this life-changing experience of last 3 years I spent here between 2007 to 2010. Walking through these corridors, I couldn't help reflect on how life has changed. Back into the day in college, my biggest dilemma used to be, should I attend the first lecture? Or should I sneak in a little bit of sleep after my late night at the boys' hostel? And I was so impressed to see the sports campus and was so tempted to just simply go and play a game, which we didn't have in such a grand expanse back in the day. Today, of course, the questions are bigger. How do we build for future? And how do we, as young leaders, shape a resilient and thriving Bharat? Before we obviously dive into my journey and share a few nuggets, let me ask you all bright minds, young friends, how many of you do you want to start your business someday? Well, I can already see a few unicorns hopefully coming from the crew here. And for the ones who are still thinking, I hope I can make a 0.01% difference and inspire you today. Whether you're certain you are an entrepreneur or you want to pursue that, let me assure you, my friends, each one of you have an entrepreneurial mindset. Whether it's the great team of the Business Conclave who's organized this, or the projects or the side hustles that you lead, at the end of the day, it is just the mindset. Before I start about my entrepreneurial journey, I had what people would call a perfect life. I was actually living an American dream. Right after college, I had the good fortune of being hired by the world's best consulting firm, McKinsey & Company, and within a year got promoted and moved with them to Chicago. At Chicago, I had the chance to work with some of the smartest people and serve some of the largest organizations in the world. Subsequently, I pursued my business school at one of the world's best college at Kellogg. And throughout this journey, I always was a proud SRCC alum. Life was actually good, really good. You had a great career path, you could rise up in the corporate ladder, and all the comforts that come with it, the financial stability, the prestige, all of that was there. But somewhere deep down, कुछ click नहीं कर रहा था. You were just thinking, I'm getting too comfortable in life. Deep down reflecting, I was reminded of the story that my grandfather often used to say about the great warrior who had figured a very courageous way to get into the Chakravyuh, but unfortunately could not figure out a way to get an exit. It's absolutely unbelievable that some of these mythological stories, now that we reflect in life, business, and just our relationships, continue remaining relevant. I somewhere felt the time to exit is now. I realized if I didn't take that leap now, if I did not take that risk at that point of time in my life, I might look back in life one day and say, Kash, life would have been very different. So my friends, there is never a tomorrow. Tomorrow is today. The day you decide you want to do it is the day the world will revolve and make sure if you're putting in your heart and soul into it, it will happen. There is never a perfect time. Over the last 8 years of building SmartWorks into what is now India's largest flexible workspace platform, the journey has been very rewarding and fulfilling. The journey has had many surprises, many ups and downs. But in this journey, I have been able to forge a very, very formidable partnership, build a great team, and realize what it takes to build a great business out of India, which could essentially compete with hopefully some of the world's best. Today, I hope I will be sharing 4 important nuggets of this journey of mine, which I hope will stay with you long after this conclave. The first learning that I took was dream big and go against the wind. As the famous Elon Musk tells you, if you're not doing some things that are crazy, then you're doing the wrong things. The world has for time and again been shaped by dreamers who change the world. They are crazy and wild. The world has not been changed by the ones who follow status quo. The Silicon Valley treks always inspired me. They were building great ideas in US and they were changing the world. They were reshaping the digital age. Somewhere you know that the great ideas for the world might not be great ideas for India. And at that point of time, you were first-hand noticing small leaps starting to happen in the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I'm talking about way back in 2014, when most of you must have been in high school. When you were often looking at some of these world-class companies built out of US, you were always thinking, why can you not do this in India? Why can we not build for India? The time for India has come. If you continue living the American dream, you perhaps will never be able to build an Indian dream for the world. So at SmartWorks, in our first 2 years, to be very, very candid, we actually started the business as a co-working business. The co-working business was not India's business. It was an idea originated in the world, perhaps in Germany, popularized in US, but the idea was essentially about leasing a floor, getting some common amenities, and getting small and mid-sized organizations to come and occupy that space. While the 2 years of building that business was phenomenal, somewhere you also felt that this idea deep down does not solve an Indian problem. And my friends, entrepreneurship is about realizing deep down what is the fundamental truth. If we think today that we are going to come and clone an idea that's worked elsewhere, it is never going to work in India. Fortunately or unfortunately for us, we were young at that point of time and we said we have to do something really big. Without playing that big game, you can't create something disruptive. We knew our product was here solving a difficult problem for large Indian enterprise customers who found it very, very difficult to design their office, build it out, manage the day-to-day operations, and at the same time give a phenomenal experience to their employees. But somewhere we were not providing that through co-working. The time was then to go wild, take a risky pivot. And the risky pivot was to, rather than lease a floor, take entire buildings and campuses. And today we have 4 of the largest campuses in the world with SmartWorks. And at that point of time, honestly, the world was crashing. This is about 2 years before COVID. The global co-working sector was starting to get challenged. The global peer who inspired us was starting to crash. We were advised deep down, this is not the right path to take. This is not what you should be doing. But we took the plunge and we said, we will make it work. And we knew fundamentally any product or service in India which solves a very, very complicated problem for the end customer, if executed well, is here to stay. And as they say, we were continuing to scale and build on that courage. One after the other, we were hit with one adversity, and then another opportunity opened up. As soon as we made this pivot, our world came crashing down again because COVID happened. No one thought COVID would take us all by the storm that it did. But you knew deep down that you've solved a great problem. The human race is the most resilient race ever. Whenever the dust settles, perhaps COVID will enable a vaccine booster to our business and enable it to scale up. The time at that point of time was not to go back home and take it easy. The time was to go aggressive and turn that adversity into an opportunity. So my friends, many times in life you will be faced with this adversity. The question that you should really ask yourself, can I use this adversity to turn it into an entrepreneurial opportunity? Because trust me, most of the great ideas are the ideas which are crazy and created out of adversity. The second lesson that I learned during this journey, which I want to share, is about the myth of perfect timing and why now always wins. You know, frankly, there will never be a perfect time in life for anything. You like an idea, you will think, okay, let's wait for 2 years and then let's go and execute that idea. But you know what? In 2 years, the product would have changed. Market would have changed. Demand would have changed. Investor sentiment would have changed. Today, all of you here, my young friends, are at a distinct advantage. You have no obligations. The world's an oyster. There are limitless potentials and possibilities right in front of all of you. You have no kids. You have no wife. Let's not talk too much about it. My wife is right here, but she's been the most supportive partner. And as entrepreneurs, many times you don't have enough data points in life. Some data points and your gut instinct. Don't over-engineer this. Just take the plunge. Because you know, if you're not taken that plunge, how good it could have been, you would have never known. So I hope all of you keep this in mind, that there is no now. The now is when you think it is the right time to do it. The third key lesson that I learned during this journey was simply the art of frugality, which honestly enables you to unleash power from constraints. Time and again, Indians have proven that we have a very frugal mindset. And that frugal mindset is going back to all our ancestors and the times before that. Frugality was at the heart of Indian innovation always. And frugality is somewhat misconceived as a myth. It's somewhere thought about as depriving yourself of certain things. But if you ask us, entrepreneurs, frugality conditions your mind like nothing else. It gives you a superpower to condition yourself and the business or the careers that you'll eventually build for yourselves in a manner where it'll become a superpower for you. At SmartWorks, we always knew our customers want value. But we were facing challenges. COVID, the global leader crashing, fundraising challenges. And that's when we went back to the whiteboard and said, we've been frugal forever. And I was so glad to know when I visited the hostel this morning as well that some things don't change, and they haven't. And perhaps some of my frugal mindset also came from the late nights at the hostel. And it's conditioned me in a way where you know life will only be better and better once we get out of here. So my friends, best businesses always get built out of frugality. When we couldn't raise funds, we challenged ourselves, can we unlock capital out of our own business? Necessity became the mother of invention. And oh hell, we made that happen. We unlocked source of capital from the business and made that enable us to continue to scale up. And what we thought will be a constraint became a superpower of not depending on anyone else. We could determine where we want to take this company and where this fortune could go. And finally, all of you are going to spend the 3 best years of your life in college. And you will remember these 3 years for the rest of your life, like I do today also. Build deep roots and tall trees. Quick growth never lasts, and that's true for business and true for relationships. Time and again, you will always be tempted about shortcuts to success. But let me be brutally honest. You have to put in the hours. The harder you work, the luckier you will get. And the more opportunities will open up for you. I'm sure all of you here have worked really, really hard to score phenomenal marks and pursue academic excellence. Never let that hard work trait go away from you. Because quite honestly, you don't realize it now, but the extra 4 hours that you put in every day, compound that every day for 10 years. You would have each accomplished 10x of what anyone else could have. Small, extra incremental efforts every day gets you to where you are. Invest a lot of your time building great relationships. Build your tribe. You are the best of 5 people that you spend most of your time with. At SRCC, you have the phenomenal opportunity of getting the diversity and interacting with the type of thought processes that you will never ever get the time to in life. Forge those lifelong bonds, because trust me, you will never ever get that time. Today also, 14 years out of college, some of my best friends continue to remain from college. They continue to do well and they continue to be the sounding board. But please don't take shortcuts, because you know if you don't invest in nurturing these relationships now, you will never be able to thrive and build on this. And finally, as I've realized, the true success lies, as the famous Edison had said, by trying just one more time. And trust me, all the trials and tribulations of building the company, whenever you were tight in a corner, you always kept reminding yourself, try one more time. With that, I hope I can now close this, and hopefully all of you have been very, very patient throughout this process. But I hope I've been able to inspire you and make a slight difference to how you're thinking. And thank you again to our respected faculty for having me over, and the Business Conclave team. And look forward to seeing all of you soon. Thank you so much.